Only the children of light is gonna understand this.
For there are three philosophical sects among the Jews, the followers of the first of which are the Pharisees, of the second, the Sadducees, and the third sect, which pretends to a severer discipline, are called Essenes. These last are Jews by birth and Jews by birth.
This is the knowledge of the Essene brotherhood. This is the knowledge of the Essene brotherhood. This is the knowledge of the Essene brotherhood. Taking it back to the way that it was in the beginning.
Right. Shalom, shalom. Peace and blessings, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Happy Sabbath, happy Sabbath, happy Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises be unto the Most High Almighty, Ahaya Shahaya Christ, our Lord, our God, our Savior, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. This is the Essene Community Church of Christ. My name is Archbishop Shamar,
And I'm Bishop Mike Allah.
and we be bringing you today's Sabbath report/lesson. All right, and we be continuing part 2 on the keep your hand on the plow, no turning back. All right, and are you fit for the kingdom? All right, last week we went into integral details on plowing and what plowing is, all right, and preparing the ground, right, which is your mind. All right, for new information to be planted, for the seed to blossom up, which is Christ, and the understanding that all encompasses Christ, right? And the preparing of the soil, all right, we seen as the breaking up your mind and getting out the weeds, getting out the tainted understandings. All right, and then we even equated that with John the Baptist and the Essenes and what they were doing, all right, and showing that that was the soil, all right, but that's not the fruit. That's not what is purely good, all right. The fruit is what we're looking for in that tree from that seed, all right. What the Essenes did in breaking up the records and going to what they're doing, that gave good seed bed, all right, that prepared the land. That was the plowing, all right, made ready for the seed, which is Christ, right, which he then came into John the Baptist, all right, and they were able to now develop into this higher understanding, all right, but being prepared by the seed ground, which was the Essene understanding, all right, and we went into, that's how we got into the diet and food, and when Christ came, now the elimination of food, right, and going into the fruits of the Spirit, knowing that food didn't come from fullness of good, that came from disobedience of Adam, all right, but a good diet prepares us for those thoughts and understanding to get into the fruits of the Spirit. All right, so just once again, go back to that lesson, hand on the plow. We do have an exam after this as well, because it is an important topic. All right, so once again, this is the Sabbath report/lesson for the day. All right, keep your hand on the plow, no turning back, part 2. And we're going to start at Isaiah 53:1.
It's the book of the prophet Isaiah. It's the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 53, verse 1. Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed?
All right, so who has believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? We always go to the scripture because who's going to believe the report? All right, and belief we go into, all right, being willing, all right, leaf is willing, all right, belief, being willing. All right, who's going to be willing? And we see that even in the times of Christ, many was just following for the bread, all right, for the food. And when they seen that wasn't being given, right, the room is empty. This is how we came to the 12, all right? So even in Christ's time, not many believe, right? But there's always a small remnant, all right? And in Isaiah's time, they still have to ask that, who's going to believe the report, all right? And who is the power of the Lord really been revealed to? All right. In the wilderness, they're constantly asking for signs to see that power. Moses granted them that. All right. But when Moses is being sent in front of Pharaoh, they have signs too. All right. Satan has signs too. All right. So it's going to be more than signs that we need. All right. Which is understanding. All right. And belief to be able to go beyond what you see. All right. Because that's the deception. Deception, when we look outside, traps and everything, they know they're preying on the prey based on what they see. They're trying to trick the prey, trap the prey by setting up things to confuse their minds, confuse their ears. All right. And then as soon as you see it, boom, pounce, trap. All right. Police do it. Everybody does it. All right. So can't just depend on a sign or seeing things and hearing things, but understanding. All right. And truly believing. All right. Truly seeking. Because even in these times, the Most High knows that He gave us all the senses that we use, all right, that we want to find deals, when we want to find out, what people are doing, all right. We're supposed to be using those same senses to find out the truth of God, all right, come to understanding and belief within ourselves. All right, so once again, we're going to go through the scriptures to ensure that they're translated, interpreted, and taught correctly. All right, once again, let's keep your hand on the plow, no turning back. And we're at page, let's go to it. We're at page, we had stopped at
Bottom of 17.
I think we're at, what page were we at?
I think it was bottom of 17. We're going to start Romans. Right. I think we finished Romans.
17, we did the one. I think we're beyond that, okay, I think, yeah, we're up here. Okay. All right, yes.
Ephesians.
Yes. All right, so we'll start back at page 19. All right, we'll start at 1 Kings 19 and 19.
It's the book of 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 19. So he departed thence and found Elisha, the son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen before him. And he with the 12th, and Elijah passed by him and cast his mantle upon him. And he left the oxen and ran after Elijah and said, Let me, I pray thee, kiss my father and my mother, and then I will follow thee. And he said unto them, Go back again, for what have I done to thee?
All right, so we're going through plowing, and once again, knowing that the person has a job and a duty to do, and while they're on that job and duty, they're trying to leave it for other excuses, all right? And this is in the scriptures, all right? This is not saith man, this is nothing. These are the examples in the scriptures, right, that we have to hold truth to. Some of these truths are hard to digest, even for myself sometimes, because this is the realization of knowing that, hey, I got to do better. I got to see things different, all right? But here we have Elijah, the prophet, all right? And we have Elisha, all right, who's plowing, 12 yoking, all right? And he's on the duty right now. That means he's focused right now. This is not on his leisure time. He's on his duty, and he wants to leave his duty, all right, to go deal with his mother and his father, all right? Then he's saying, I'll come and I'll deal with what you're dealing with, all right? And he's saying to him, go back again, for what have I done to thee? So this is just once again in the system of plowing, you're to continue plowing until you're done the job, all right? And then you deal with your duty. So he wasn't saying that, this person can't go and deal with their mother and father, but putting in the sense of, when one is on the plowing job, all right, this is what plowers do. They continue the job until it's done. They don't stop plowing and come back. All right. And right here, Elijah is looking at it as a disrespect. He's saying, what have I done to you to make you want to do this to me now? All right. By stopping the plow. All right. So we're going to go to a next example. All right, we're at Matthew 8 and 18.
It's the book of St. Matthew chapter 8, verse 18. Now when Jesus saw great multitudes about him, he gave commandment to depart unto the other side. And a certain scribe came and said unto him, Master, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest. And Jesus saith unto him, The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man had nowhere to lay his head. And another of his disciples said unto him, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. But Jesus said unto him, Follow me, and let the dead bury their dead.
All right, so here we have now. So we're like, you know what? That's not Christ, that's Elijah. All right. So we're now here, and we don't have the plowing instance, but we're understanding it's the same thing. What is the plowing? Before in the Old Testament, that plowing is shown by the physical plowing. All right, here we're now seeing the actual spiritual plowing being done. How do we know? Because when Christ came, he said, yo, I'm going to make you a fisher of men. All right, and leaving them off from dealing with fish. So he was instituting that spiritual understanding of these physical things. All right, so here he would now go and show them, hey, this is the true plow and this is the work. And this is why this example is here. All right, a certain scribe came and said, I'll follow thee wherever thou goest. All right, and this guy said unto him, showing him that, yo, he don't even rest himself. He don't even have a place to lay his head. He's constantly on the go doing these things. All right, another disciple of his, all right, so his own disciple saying, yo, let him go first and bury his father. All right, and what's Christ saying? He said, follow me, let the dead bury the dead. So he's just showing him that your mindset with the kingdom of God has to be that this is more important than anything, and you finish this and then your other duties. All right, when we're talking about country and patriotism, they're supposed to say your first duty is to your country, especially if you're not in a religion or anything. All right. If you're in a religion, then your first duty is to God. I don't think people understand that. All right, but you have a duty that is supposed to be fulfilled. All right, so you have a duty as a citizen of a place. All right, that's what comes sometimes if you have a good record and stuff, they're gonna send you for jury duty. Right, I got a jury duty thing the other day. All right, they're saying, yo, this is your duty to do as a citizen. All right, and before I was like, you know what, I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't think, but I'm like, you know what, maybe a young man does depend on me to go there to be like, yo, I see this thing differently, and my thought opinion be the, you know, the thing that helped that individual in that moment. Right, where they're in the beginning be like, yo, why am I going to that? Da, 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 da. But in one of those cases, everyone would love, yo, one person to see it the way that you want to see it. That could make a huge difference. All right, and that's our duty to make sure that what somebody's not just going into jail for no reason. All right, and now that duty usurps any other duty, because they're saying, guess what? If that case is a 2-month case, you can't lose your job because of that. Right? Why? Because you're doing what comes first. All right, that job can't look at that as, yo, what's going on? No, this comes first. All right, now if we're talking about that with that, now we're talking about God. This comes first with anything. This is where exemption comes in. We just went through COVID. The only thing that was usurping that was either your doctor, meaning, yo, you have some grave disease that, yo, saying that you can't take this, or you have a religious duty that usurps all of that. All right, but when it's so, you see, when it's for our own good, our own benefit, something that's benefiting us, money, that I need my job, that's when we're looking at, oh, this is number one, yo, my religion is first. This is first before anything. Before anything, it's this. Now we want to use that. All right, but we're supposed to use it in the instance of, yo, before anything comes my work for God. That's first and foremost. Then comes these things second. All right, and setting up my work before God, all right? And then making sure that that duty is there. And then it's an even bigger duty on us who, yeah, we have to survive doing other things before that duty. So we have to be like, yo, that time that I put aside, that's dedicated time. Whether I'm tired, whether I'm this, whether I'm not, I'm going to fulfill that because this is really my first duty. But this duty, my secondary duties, are taking up a lot of my time. Therefore, I have to be even more fervent on this duty that I have a limited time with. That's supposed to really and truly be my first, then I'm aiming to expand and take over the fullness of my life. All right, so this is the mindset that Christ is trying to instill. This is the instilling of it. This comes first before anything. Deal with this, then you can deal with your stuff. All right, and once again, when it's for things like what we've seen during COVID, exemption, now someone's like, yo, this is comes first. All right, God comes before anything. This law is before any law you put before me. Now this is first. Now they see the importance of religion first, your service to God first before anything. All right, so just using these examples. All right, so we're going to continue to Ephesians 6 and 5.
It's the book of Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5. Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fear and trembling, in singleness of your heart, as unto Christ, not with eye service as men pleasers, but as a servant of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart, with good will doing service as to the Lord, and not to men, knowing that whatsoever good thing any man doeth, the same shall he receive of the Lord, whether he be bond or free.
All right, so once again, it's saying, servants, be obedient to them that are your masters. All right, and people look at this, oh, this is slave. This is, once again, there's always going to be somebody who's the leader, and then somebody who's subservient to the individuals. This is how the world works. All right, it's telling those people who have a leader, all right, to be obedient to your leader. All right, whoever that is according to the flesh. All right, in your different situations. All right, with fear and trembling and singleness of your heart as to Christ. Why is he saying as to Christ? Because we've been showing you everything is used for law of nature. So all the leaders, he's saying, yo, if you can't deal with this leader in front of you, how you going to deal with the true leader? The same way he said, if you can't love your brother in front of you, how can you love me, who you can't see? So he's showing you that these things of law of nature are put in front of us as examples for practice. If you can't deal with your brother before you, don't think you can deal with Christ, who you can't see. If you can't deal with your leader before you, all right, and be obedient to him, you think you're really going to follow Christ when you see him. This is what people think. When it's not true, because we see when he was there, the same thing didn't happen. All right, so he's using law of nature to say, hey, these are your leaders. This is how you deal with them. They are placed to you as an example of Christ, all right? Deal with them how you're dealing with Christ, all right? Not with eye service. So he's telling you, not with eye service as men pleasers. So not for the eyes of men and people, all right? But as servants of Christ, knowing that, hey, this is really you doing this to Christ and you using these law of nature principles and examples of showing Christ, yo, I'm subservient to you. All right, doing the will of God from the heart. So once again, doing these things from your heart, not for people, all right? Doing the will of God from your heart with goodwill, doing service, all right? So once again, with goodwill, doing this from your heart, like, yo, Christ is right here, all right? When someone's coming to church, you can't see Christ here. You're supposed to be like, yo, Christ is here. I'm here for Christ. Everything I'm here for Christ. Christ could be here. I brought something because he could be here today. I'm doing everything you're supposed to be doing. You should be doing it like Christ is here as a practice, not waiting for you. When Christ is here, that's when I'll bring stuff for Christ, or that's when I'll do this for the church, or that's when I'll, do these extra things and show this extra effort. All right. We're supposed to be doing it before that. All right. So doing the will of God from the heart, with goodwill doing service as to the Lord, not to men, because we're not doing this for men. All right, we're doing this for the Lord. And that's supposed to continuously make you do that, because you can never do enough for the Lord. All right, knowing that whatever good thing any man does, the same shall receive of the Lord, whether he be bond or free. All right, so knowing that whatever good thing the man does, he's going to receive from God. So if you receive from the individual because you did that, and he give you a promotion, all that because you've been good, Christ's going to eventually in your life give you a promotion, all right, sometime. Because the same thing that you're seeing displayed physically because you're showing that, it's going to eventually happen spiritually because he's pleased as well because you're dealing with the leader. And that's what they're showing here, this law nature principle, this universal principle that's governing the world. All right, knowing that whatsoever good thing any man does, the same he shall receive of the Lord. All right, so if you're doing those things and you're serving and being obedient, right? And your boss is now saying, oh, look at him, I'm going to level him up, the same thing you're going to receive of the Lord. All right, whether he be bond or free. All right, because he loves when man's doing the proper things and he's going to reward that. All right, so we're going to continue. We're at Proverbs 4:20 and 4.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 20, verse 4. The sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold. Therefore shall he beg in harvest and have nothing.
All right, so this is a next understanding where to go in, that the sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold. And cold is cold season, all right? And cold season is spiritual as well, when things are dry, all right? When things is not, the weather is not beautiful outside, all right? Now it's this cloudy stuff, all right? It's not a sunny day, meaning you're not really happy today. All right, nothing's really going on. These are the days now you're really supposed to plow in these days, these cold days, right? People only want to plow when it's summer. Summer is synonymous with what? Smiles, happiness, good weather, right? Winter is that cloudiness, all right? The snow, cold season, dry. All right? So the sluggard will make up excuses not to plow in the cold season. This is going on. That's happening. It's cold outside, all right? Therefore, it's saying in those times, in the harvest season, he's going to beg and have nothing because you didn't want to go out and plow when things is tough, because the plowing in the snow and in the cold is tough. That's what you're going to see. It's tough, tougher. It's in tougher times. You're doing it in times that are tougher. All right. And if you make up excuses because times are tougher, then you will beg in the time of harvest. This is the spiritual principle wisdom is giving us here. All right. If you don't want to do things when the times are tough and it's not as comfy and warm and cozy in your life, all right, and it's the cold season, dry season, cloudy season, all right, then in the harvest season, right, which comes after that, which means harvest season comes after that in the March times, all right, that's when the Passover, all of that started to come around now. That's what these things are symbolizing. Around those times now, because you didn't plow before in that season, in the harvest season, you ain't gonna have nothing because you didn't prepare. And now you've seen other people have and prepare, and now you're like, yo, why they have? Why don't I have? Why don't? And this is what man does. All right, so we're going to continue. We're going to go to the definition of sluggard.
So Strong's definition of sluggard, Hebrew 61:02, otzel, meaning indolent, slothful, sluggard. This is the indolent etymology. Indolent, an adjective from the 1660s, causing no pain, painless. From French, indolent, 16th century, or directly from late Latin, indolentum. See, indolence. Sense of living easily, slothful, is 1710, a sense perhaps developed in French, related to idolatry. Also from the 1660s.
All right. So once again, so sluggard is slothful. All right. Slothful is indolent. When we look at indolent, the person's painless. All right. Causing no, it's like they don't, it's like they don't feel nothing. Right. They don't feel the alert. They don't feel nothing. It's just like they're like, all right. So what's going on? All right. Then it says they're living easy. Easy means, yo, they're just taking it easy. Taking it easy is like this. Meaning, yo, there could be a fire right there. The person just like, right? And that's the opposite of diligent, right? Meaning, hey, you're seeing this happening and now you're diligent. You're going to this quickly. You're like, yo, something's happening here. Yo, there's a fire. I went and put it out. Whoa, something's going on, right? In contrast to the person who's, yo, it's time to plow. It's time to do this. They're like, chilling, living easily. relaxing back, all right? In opposite of diligent, yo, put out the fire, put out the fire. It's time to do this thing real quick. All right, so these are the two things, the differences here. All right, that the person who's slothful, they're just chill, they're just laid back and not seeing the seriousness of situations and allowing those times to pass by. All right, so they're allowing those times to pass by and not seeing that. And they're just chilling, laying there. All right, when it's now time to go do the work, it's now time to now plow. It's now time to set certain things up. But the person is not taking the time seriously. All right, they're living easily. All right, they're not feeling the pain of this time. They're not, it's like they don't feel nothing. All right, while other people, they may get a bill and now they're like, yo, phew, the whole world's done now. Now they're outside, they're doing all of this stuff because, yo, they got a new bill and they're like, yo, they can't even be easy at this time. I mean, for me, seeing that is usually, when men get the bill, we're like, all right, it's the bill, we'll pay that when we want. When we get the bill, they're more diligent, like, yo, I got to pay that bill right now. I got to pay that bill. Right? Men, we're like, you're the authority. We're like, if they ain't going to bring me to jail, then, yo, they can wait whenever. Right? And we start to take it more easily. And the female will be like, yo, nah, you got to pay that bill right now. That bill got to get paid. You taking this like it's not hurting you or nothing. Right? In a lot of situations, it could be like that, where the man is more, yo, I'm taking this easy. I'm really feeling it, where woman's feeling more so, yo, you got a bill right now. Let's pay this bill right now. All right. She will use the last of what she got to pay the bill, where the man be like, yo, let them wait. Let's flip this real quick and they'll pay it at the end. Be like, nah, you got to pay this now. It's like you're not feeling this. All right. So just understanding that. All right. Understanding that sluggard, all right, being a sluggard is taking things easy. All right. Like you're not feeling the pain of the situation. All right. You're not seeing the seriousness of the situation. All right. Therefore, you're taking things easy. All right. You're not moving with swiftness. All right. So we're going to continue. All right. So we're going to go into the opinion, all right, that farmers should practice winter plowing.
This is from August 28, 2012. All right. Winter cold plowing benefits. Land preparation is in various forms, the most common of which is tilling the fields, which may be done immediately after harvesting is finished, or at the latest this month before the hot September/October tropical sun dries up the ground. Another way of land preparation involves cutting down bushes and trees and the removal of stumps. Farmers may wish to extend their fields, an activity that involves felling trees and using their branches to build hedges, something done by those who cannot afford to buy and erect barbed wire fences. The most important agricultural activity, however, for every serious farmer this month is to till the fields. This is what used to be called winter plowing because it is done more or less in winter. Its major advantages are three. It helps to reduce weeds, especially couch grass, hange or tezagadzi, whose long creeping roots are exposed to the sun by tilling, thus reducing its incidence in the field. It destroys pests such as maize, stalk borers in the pupal stage by exposing them to the sun. It loosens the soil, making it more porous so that rainwater can percolate inside of flowing away superficially without being accessible to the roots of crops or plants.
All right, so this is showing that, once again, land preparation, especially, right, we're coming in those times right now that they would be prepping these lands right now. We're seeing a little of the sun. The sun, it's getting cold, but there's still enough sun out there where they're saying, yo, the moisture and all of that is coming from the ground. And the little that it does have, this little sun here is taking that away. And it's drying up the ground, where this is the times where people should be preparing the ground, all right, for the next season, all right, for the harvest season that's to come. All right, so here we're seeing land preparation is a various form. The most common, which is tilling the fields, may be done immediately after harvesting is finished. All right, so harvest seasons, all right, is the beginning of each season. These are the harvest seasons. All right, when we're looking at in March, all right, that's the time of harvest. All right, then we're looking at after March, our next 4 months, our next time of harvest. All right, and then you're looking at another one where they around these times another harvest is coming. All right, and then the next harvest gonna be next year. All right, so they're saying once again in the month that it was in August, they're to start preparing. The person's supposed to start to prepare the land from now. All right, because the conditions of the weather is going to change coming up in September and October. All right, so once again, cold air is dry air. Cold air is dry air. All right, that's what comes. Someone needs a humidifier, all of that. That's what comes. Your nose gets stuffy in the winter, right? Because a lot of cold air is now hidden up into your nose, which is dry air. All right, because it's now getting colder, and that is now, once again, that's drying up the ground as well. Same thing it's doing to us, it's doing to the ground. Right, where it's trying to hold that moisture in. Right, that's what comes what? Using the humidifier again that we're seeing. Right, it's bringing some more moisture. That moisture is usually a little warm. All right. In contrast to the cold air that's making things, right, dry, right, causing dry air. All right, so they're trying to deal with the land before that, all right, before those seasons coming, before things dry up. All right, once again, during that season, they're also cutting down bushes, trees, removal of stumps. All right, and it says again, the most important agricultural activity, however, for serious farmers this month is to till the fields. All right, so till the fields for the most serious farmers. All right, this month, these months right before that winter season's coming in, that's what they call winter plowing, doing it at these times. All right, is very crucial. All right, this is what used to be called winter plowing, because it is done more or less in the winter. This is what they're saying. And its three major advantages are. So it has three major advantages. So winter plowing has three major advantages. It helps reduce weeds. All right. And weeds, we're going to go into a whole thing on weeds, because weeds are things that are going to kill the good fruit that's there and now take over the whole mind, take over the thought now. Instead of that fruit that should have been growing there, this weed now goes and it takes it over. All right, these other thoughts start to take over the good fruit that's there. All right, so you got to get those weeds out that try to take over, and they be evasive. They spread quickly too. All right, and destroying pests. All right. It loosens the soil. So it destroys pests by, once again, exposing them to the sun. So by bringing them to the sun dries out these things. It loosens the soil. It makes more porous so that the rainwater can percolate. All right. What's this porous? Porous. We have a. Oh, no, I don't have it in. All right. This porous verse. Let me just see what that is real quick. Porous, a rock. All right. Having minute spaces or holes which liquid or air may pass. All right. So making it more porous. So it makes it more or less holy. So rainwater can go inside and flow inside. All right. So it creates holes. So it makes it more holy so that rainwater can now go inside and go into the ground and add moisture in certain things of that air in nature. All right. Because that's what you're looking for, moisture. That's what the humidity and all of that's for, the humidifier and all of that's added moisture. Why? Because it's dry. Why is it getting dry? Because it's cold season. All right. So cold season brings in dry air, which makes things hard to grow, which doesn't allow the ground, right, to trap in moisture. All right. So that it can be ready for the next season. So once again, winter plowing, very important. It's very important to plow in the times where it's rough. That's when it's time to do these things, in the time of it being rough. But the person gonna be like, yo, it's rough. I can't do this because this is happening or that's happening because that and this and that. And that's why it is using this the thing of the person, the sluggard, won't plow. All right, will not plow by the reason of cold. Therefore, he shall beg in the harvest, because he's saying, yo, it's hard, it's difficult, it's it's a tough time. Right, this is the time to do it to prepare for the harvest, or else you're not gonna have nothing. All right, so they're not doing things in the season when it's hard. They want to do it. A lot of people just want to do things in the summer when it's nice outside, when it's nice in your life. You got to do these things when it's tough.
So the spiritual equivalent of that would be in wintertime we know it's cold and go out and look at the sunrise. So we should go out and look at the sunrise when it's colder out. This helps to mortify the flesh.
Well, that brings a physical example to bring you to that spiritual example. So that would be the physical thing you do. That would be the example to be like, all right, you're gonna make an excuse now. Why don't you want to go see the sunrise? Because it's cold outside now, right? So yeah, everyone could do it in the summertime. You get what I'm saying? It's the same thing when I say everyone could be like, yo, I'm studying or I listen to the scriptures in the daytime. It's daytime. It's summertime. It's the time to do all of that. It's showing when it's not the time to do that. That's when you're doing it now.
Or if you choose to watch a movie or look at your phone and whatever, instead of doing that, choose to read the scriptures, choose to do some journaling when it comes to spiritual aspects.
Yeah, because it's going to be tougher. Now it's the nighttime now. Nighttime, there's no light. Light's not outside. Ignorance is around now. Now everything's telling you to be ignorant now. Everything's telling you to go to sleep right now.
Or go outside and party.
Yeah, or go outside and party. It's not telling you to, knowledge right now. Daytime is knowledge because what? Schools are open. There's no school in the nighttime, right? So your body's not going to be like, oh, it's time to learn, right? Everyone's learning in the daytime. A lot of people, everyone's doing something in the daytime. Nighttime is now where it's like, yo, your body's like, I want to do that. And you're fighting the world and you're fighting your own body. You're fighting your flesh. You're fighting everything at that time. That's telling you it's not the time to do that. It's time for ignorance right now. And you're saying, no, it's time for light right now. It's time for the Most High right now, right? And we're using that as a comparison to say, it's easy to tell the person, oh, how comes you're not studying? How comes you're not doing this? But then you're going home and sleeping, right? You're just look at that as, yo, that's like them. You're now feeling what they feel when they don't want to do whatever because it's night now. Your body wants to sleep. This is what they're being told. They're being told you don't want to do this. You don't want to get up right now. You're just feeling it now in the physical sense now. What they're going through spiritually, now you're feeling physically. And now we're showing that, as an example, at these times when people would be sleeping, that's what the scripture's saying, you show that, no, I'm watching. I'm not just knocked out. I'm showing that, I'm observant. Because I realize that this physical example is the example of ignorance. So I'm just not going to be ignorant in this time. Not to say you can't sleep. That's why it says just watch. Get up and just pay attention at these specific things. Pray at this specific time. Do a little study at this specific time. Then go knock out again. Because other people, they're just going to be knocking out or doing in sin.
They'll get up for their boss who won't be they're not going to be the one people that you're working on, going to be the ones weeping at your funeral, You'll wake up early for them.
All right. So we're at Proverbs 24 and 30.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 24, verse 30. I went by the field of the slothful and by the vineyard of the man void of understanding. And lo, it was all grown over with thorns, and nettles had covered the face thereof. And the stone wall thereof was broken down. Then I saw and considered it well. I looked upon it and received instruction. Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man.
All right, so it's showing, he's like, Proverbs is like, yo, let's go to the field of the slothful. Let's look at this field. All right, the vineyard of the man void of understanding. All right, when you're looking at their field, once again, and we're through this lesson, you should now go outside and see the difference with a field that is, that's good to produce and a field that's not good to produce. All right, the field of the slothful man is grown all over with thorns, nettles, having covered the face thereof. All right, showing there's a stone all broken up there, just laying there. And then he's saying, I saw it and I considered it well. And he looked upon it and he received instruction. So he's saying, yo, he's actually, he's actually going outside and he's looking at this stuff and he's just saying, yo, this is what the field of the slothful man would look like. And he's just looking at the field and he's seeing, because he can't see the man's mind. So obviously he's looking at an actual field and using the law of nature example. All right. And he's seeing the stone water and he's like, yo, he saw it and considered it well. And he looked upon it and he received instruction. So he's now getting, all right, the download that comes when you go outside. You're looking at nature. You're looking at what's going on. And he's like, oh, this is like the field of the slothful man. I'm seeing it now. And he's saying, yo, look, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands, or the person don't want to do nothing. The same way you doing that, the same way the poverty gonna come to you, same way. And I want as an armed man, like an armed robber out of nowhere, saying, yo, boom, 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 give me that. Give me everything. Taking everything from you, putting you in poverty. All right, so this field here, these fields that you see there, that's not a good field, right? A good field is a plowed field where you're going to see the soil, all right? Where you can farm, where you can grow things. Fields like this can't grow nothing. But in our mind, when we're looking at it, we're like, oh, that looks like a good field. You think that you just plant on that field. That's not a field you could plant on, all right? This is not a place you could plant. A field that you can plant on and that's good for planting and growing doesn't look like this. Is an undealt with field, unplowed field. This is the curse that Adam had, that no land on earth would be tilled. That's why Adam has to till it. You see, now it makes sense why he's cursed. You're not going to go anywhere in the earth and see a tilled land. It doesn't happen. You're going to have to till it because it's going to look like this, that ground right there. And that's not tilled. You see? A tilled land is a plowed land. And we're seeing the difference. It's going to have the soil up. You're not going to see no grass like that. All right? So once again, the field of the slothful is going to look like this. It's going to have a bunch of weeds and different things. All right? And yes, some weeds are good in the dandelions. But the thing about the weeds is what it does to the fruits that would be around, the trees that are around it. It takes over, so it doesn't allow those things to grow into your mind and to blossom. It takes over, so the weed takes over, eats it up, and now spreads, and now this other thought is here instead of this fruit that should be there. All right, and when one's not dealing with nothing and void of understanding is just all these little weeds that's taken over and no fruit, no true fruit. That's the understanding. The fruit of understanding is not there. It's just weeds, thorns, weeds, nettles. No fruit to eat, nothing that brings substance. All right. So we're going to go to Sirach 38:24.
It's the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, out of the Apocrypha, chapter 38, verse 24. The wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure, and he that hath little business shall become wise. How can he get wisdom that holdeth the plough, and that glorieth in the gold, that driveth oxen, and is occupied in their labors, and whose talk is of bullocks? He giveth his mind to make furrows, and is diligent to give the kine fodder. So every carpenter and workmaster that laboreth night and day, and they that cut and engrave seals, and are diligent to make great variety, and give themselves to counterfeit imagery, and to watch finish a work.
All right. So this once again, so for you to plow, because remember, there's going to be other plowing. We're talking about spiritual plowing of your mind. There's going to be physical plowing. So when we come here to wisdom again, it's going to say, hey, it's going to show you what the real plowing is. Real plowing is, you're going to have some time to go into your mind, to go into wisdom. So you're going to have you're going to need some leisure time in order to learn, some time where you're not busy with physical work. Why? Because it's saying now, how can he get wisdom, which that's the true plowing, that holdeth the plow. So now we're seeing it's not really talking about a real plow here, right? It's talking about your mind. So if you're outside now talking about, I'm plowing and I'm outside, this is the plow. This is not the plowing I'm talking about. We're talking about your mind, getting your mind right. You need time to analyze your mind. When you see outside, when I ask people, do they have, it's not normal for people to not not have no information or categories of information where you have figured out and sealed off and said, this is what I understand as truth. And now you can pass it off to your children. But nobody has that because everyone's like, I don't have the time to look into this and to be like, yo, this is my final say-so that I figured out for my family line on this category. There's no information left. When the next child is there, they have to go figure it out on themselves all over again. Because the family is not putting a definite on understanding because everyone's like, yo, I don't have time for that. I just have time to work, go to school. Why are you going to school? To figure out what they need for the next job. But no one's like, you know what? What about understanding? I need to know what this is, what that is, right? And my family has it down. We have what this is. We know what this is. And these are our records that says this is what's this. This is our teachings that we're passing on down. Remember, the forefathers passed on down teaching. They passed on down understanding. That's what we're reading right now. So for us not to have no understanding on, hey, this is what you officially put together for your family and said, this is what this is. This is how the world works. This is what red is. This is what this is. This is what this category, this is what this is. Because we're not taking the time to learn things as a whole. We're just like, yo, I went to school and from you didn't have to go to school no more. You were done. You're like, I don't need to learn no more. It's done. It's finished. I don't need no assignment. I don't need to do no essay. I don't need to write no topic out. I don't need to look at nothing again. That's how I was until once again the Spirit came to me and says, no, you need to go into your mind. You need to look at everything again. And I was in the trap house. I had the computer open while serving fiends and things and saying, no, we need to put time away so I can look at information and come to a full understanding on a topic so that when someone comes to me, I'll be like, no, you didn't look at the topic fully because you didn't have the time. I had the time to look at it to say this is this, unless you're bringing me something else. But usually that person didn't look at nothing that they're bringing me anything different that I went and took the full time to look at. And then they're looking at me like, oh, you think you know it? No, I took the time to know it while you didn't. And then you who didn't take the time is trying to tell me what it is. This is where it's easy for me to see that you didn't take the time because I took the time. That's the difference. All right, so just going back again, it's showing us that we got to put away time for ourselves in order to get our own wisdom. Or the only wisdom you're going to have is whatever the school system gave you and whatever you're just learning willy-nilly outside. You have nothing officially learning, nothing officially that you're saying this is this, that is that. You don't have that since you went to school, which is bad. Which means you only have what the school taught you. All right, so once again, the wisdom of a learned individual cometh by leisure. You're gonna have to put away time to give yourself an opportunity. He that has little business shall become wise. All right, so you're gonna have to put away time. You're gonna have to stop work at some point to understand and learn. All right, to learn a topic, move to a next topic. How can he get wisdom that holdeth the plough, that glorieth in the gold, that driveth the oxen, is occupied in their labors, whose talk is of bullocks? How can you get wisdom if you're busy in work all the time? It's impossible. This is what it's saying. He giveth his mind to make furrow. You're diligent in doing the other work, not in this work. All right, continue for us.
Sirach chapter 38, verse 28. The smith also sitting by the anvil and considering the iron work. The vapor of the fire wasteth his flesh, and he fighteth with the heat of the furnace, and the noise of the hammer and the anvil is ever in his ears. And his eyes look still upon the pattern of the thing that he maketh. He setteth his mind to finish his work, and watches to polish it perfectly. So did the potter sitting at his work, and turning the wheel about with his feet, who was always carefully set at his work, and maketh all his work by number. He fashioneth the clay with his arm, and boweth down his strength before his feet, and applieth himself to lead it over, and he is diligent to make clean the furnace. All these trust their hands, and every one is wise in his work. Without these cannot a city be inhabited, and they shall not dwell where they will, nor go up and down. They shall not be sought for in public council, nor sit high in the congregation. They shall not sit on the judge's seat, nor understand the sentence of judgment. They cannot declare justice and judgment, and they shall not be found where parables are spoken. But they will maintain the state of the world, and all their desire is in the work of their craft.
All right, so this once again, it's just showing you that everyone is so focused on the different jobs that they have, all right, and setting their mind to their job and so focused on the job, all right, all these are putting trust to their hand. Everyone, what are they wising? They're only going to be wise in their work. Why? Because they only have time for work. They can tell you everything about the job. Why? Because they on the job. They doing the job all the time. Everything about the job you can tell me. Of course you can tell me about the job. Because that's your job and that's what you do all the time. But nothing else you can tell me in fullness because they're not learning no more. They're just learning their job. That's all they're learning now. The job. The job is taking you over. The job, the job, the job, the job, the job, the job. All you can teach me about is the job.
And sometimes it's not just the job, it's all these trivial carnal things that I'm not going to serve them with anything.
Yeah, because after the job, they're like, yo, I want to relax now, right? So it's like they don't want to go to the next job now. They're like, yeah, especially the job that's not giving me a pay right now. If it was giving you a pay right now, you'd probably be like, yeah, I'll go do the job right now. But you can't see that pay. So you're like, yo, that job, put that on the back burner. Once again, we just went to what? That the plow has to be the first job. And now it's now on the back burner because your other job is taking over. And now you're tired. And now you're like, that job, that's not the paying job. So that is the job that what? Falls back now. And now you're like, yeah, it's not first now. It's back behind now. And this is what he's showing that all these people, they put the trust in the job. They're trusting their hands, their time. They don't put no time to wisdom. Therefore, they're not going to be in public counsel. They're not going to sit high in the congregation, all right? And it's telling you all these places where you're going to have to spend time to have wisdom to get there. Because a public counsel, all right, a lot of these people, to get to where they're at, they have to spend a lot of time, community time, in the law, going to school, all right, in the congregation. These are people who usually, to do this, you have to have a lot of wisdom and go into wisdom to sit high in the congregation. All right, this me being right here didn't come from willy-nilly, and it came from putting time in to sit here high in the congregation. All right, it says they shall not sit on judges' seat. You know how long it takes to be a judge? The person has to go to law school. They have to go then learn all about being a lawyer. Then they have to go do their whole lawyer thing, and then again, finally, when they're older, finally end up in the judge's seat, which this thing takes long. I have an aunt. She's been a lawyer for how long? She's trying to be a judge, but that stuff takes so much time to put in. And other people are like, oh, they're not going to do that job because what? They're like, yo, that's too much time. They just want the job that's like, 3-4 years and you're done. You're done. That's all you needed to learn real quick. These jobs, they got to be learning for all 20 years, 30 years. Continuous to sit up that high. All right? These jobs take more studying, more looking into than the other jobs. Therefore, no one's going to be in these jobs because these jobs take more studying. That's what it's saying. These jobs take more you putting as time to go into wisdom and understanding. All right. But it says right here, they will maintain the state of the world. All their desire is in the work of their craft. So they maintain the state of the world. They're not going to change. They can't change because the job keeps going every day and they're not making any time. They're not putting any time to do anything different. And week to week is not changing and doing more. So once again, I have a job and week to week, I'm making sure I'm making these changes that, eventually, once again, I'm going to go into this path because this is the path I really want to go. But I have to say week to week, I'm honestly making a change. I'm honestly looking at this to be like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to move towards, and honestly make those movements and have that in my heart that that's what I want to do. All right. And then the Most High will do the rest. He will make time now. He will spread that time now. This thing could take over your fullness of your life now. All right, but it won't if the person is maintaining the state of the world and they're just doing the same thing day to day and they're not making a change. They're not striving to be greater week to week. They don't see that, week to week, did you try to be better this week? Were you better this week than last week? Every day we're supposed to be getting up to be like, I want to be better than I was yesterday. I want to be better than I was last week. I want to be better than I was last year. All right, I never used to do that, but now I'm like, every year I'm like, these are the goals. This year I reached these goals and changed these things. Or if I didn't, that's on there to be like, next year, I failed this, next year, this got to change. But you have to have, especially when you're older, you have to have big markers of, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to move towards, and really move towards it. Or else, once again, we could be stuck in this process of this just week to week going on now. right? Because a lot of changes happen when we're young. When we're older, we're in this time where not a lot of change. Your body not changing, the way you look not changing that much. Like when you're younger, grade is changing, school is changing. You're able to see changes to be like, yo, see how much things is changing? You could be here 15 years and nothing changed. 20 years, nothing changed now when you're old because there's no big markers there. It's just it's going to be the same job you're going to be going to. No different change unless you change the job. Right, but in school, you're changing school all the time, every 3-4 years, So you're constantly in a forced change. Whether you want to change or not, you're being forced to change. Your body is changing too. You're growing too through period. So those changes you can see. But as you're older, once again, the changes you can't really see as much. You're going to have to see those changes yourself. Or once again, you're going to maintain the state of the world. All your desire will end up in the work of your craft, and you didn't put no time away for the Father. You didn't put no time away for wisdom. All right, so we're going to continue.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies. He will keep the sayings of the renowned men, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also. He will seek out the secrets of grave sentences and be conversant in dark parable.
All right, so once again, but he that giveth his mind to the law. So those that give their mind to the law, those that want to understand law, wisdom, they're occupied in what? In the meditation thereof. So they're constantly thinking about the law of the Most High, breaking it down, writing it down, trying to figure it all out. We'll seek out the wisdom of all ancient. Yo, I'm collecting book. When's the last time someone went and collected a book? When's the last time people are like, yo, I'm trying to find this book, that book? This is what people of who's seeking out wisdom going to do. You're never going to stop learning. There's always going to be a next book I have, a next thing I'm looking at, a next this and that. I got all the books of the Most High. Did you even have all the records of the Father yet? Right? These are goals someone should have for themselves, especially if they're saying, yo, I'm seeking the Most High. You don't have all the books of the Most High? You don't have all the books that's supplied to you? That, yo, we have how much Amazon, all of this stuff around. What's your excuse? The forefathers, they had, yo, the law was burnt up. This was burnt up. What's our excuse today? You didn't order it. You didn't want to buy it. That's your excuse today. All right? That's the only excuse because all these books you can find. All right, so once again, he giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all ancient and be occupied in the prophecy. So you're going to be constantly, yo, this is what I want to do. I want to deal with the law. I want to deal with the meditation. I want to deal with the wisdom of the ancients. I want to seek out what they're dealing with. I'm occupied in, yo, what's this prophecy? I went home and I tried to figure this out. I tried home. That's what you're going to be doing. He will keep the sayings of renowned men. So yeah, you also will recite the scriptures as well, all right, and quote them. And where subtle parables are, there he will be. So when there's tricky parables and something tricky, there you are. Because, yo, you were searching and you're like, yo, I figured this out. I'm here now. Boom, I got this information now, right? Because it was a subtle parable. I broke this down now. I'm here now too. Where it's at, I'm at. He will seek out secrets of grave sentences. So you're like, yo, I want to see why the Most High does this and that to this. Now he's able to see because, yo, with seeking and searching, the Most High is bringing you to all this, and now you're seeing what's the secret of these grave sentences that Most High is doing. All right, what does it mean when the cup filleth up and now he's doing this and that? What does it mean by the east wind and you're building up the east wind? All right, and be conversant in a dark parable, a parable that you can't really deal with. Now the person's like, yo, I've been studying so much, yo, that parable, it's like daylight to me. I know what that is saying now. I'm now in the mind of the prophet who was dealing the parable to know exactly what he was comparing with and see what he was seeing. But that's someone whose mind is focused on the Lord, who's what? Taking out all the weeds out their mind. That's someone who took out all the weeds out their mind. If they didn't take out their weeds out their mind, they're not going to be an individual like that. All right? And nobody can just depend on another person, right? You're going to have to do it yourself. You're going to have to do it yourself because at some point, the person's going to come across information and you're going to be like, yo, I don't agree with that information. Why don't you? Because you have weeds in your mind and the fruit and the seed can't go in your mind to blossom up because you didn't do the plowing. You see? But the individual did and it received the seed and it blossomed and it's like going to you to try to put it into you now, but your field is not plowed. to be able to receive it. All right, so once again, we see that there. All right, we go the main cam. I want to put up a YouTube video real quick. All right, let's see if I can share it here. Hold on. All right, okay, just share it like this. All right. So we're gonna play this video here. All right, it's just once again seeing no field that's around there. That's grass. So when you see grass, that's a grass field, right? That's a field with grass. Grass field is good too. It does not just necessarily say weeds than just a straight grass field. But most fields have, once again, what do you call it? Nettles, weeds, all of that in there when you're seeing a field like that. All right, and we're just showing you once again the hard work that it takes to deal with plowing. People can hear that. Are people able to hear that? There's volume. All right, well, we're just showing once again, this is the plowing they were doing back in the days. All right, with the animal. Which you can see could be hard. It's a hard thing to do. This is what we're supposed to be doing to our minds. Right? All right, and the whole land's supposed to be like, when you see land like that, that's, you know, that has the soil like that, that's a land that's good now for planting and growing. All right, the other land, when you see grass like that, that's settled land. It's already been settled. The thoughts has already been settled there. All right, there's no place for growing there anymore. All right. So we'll continue back now. All right, and we're at the parable of the sower.
It's the book of St. Matthew, chapter 13, verse 18. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which received seed by the wayside.
All right, so this here, the parable of the sower. So we're dealing with plowing, we're dealing with all of this. And this is why it's key that what? Each individual, they gotta understand. It's not, this brother went home and he did the stuff and he did the lesson. No, you gotta understand the lesson because you're gonna be attacked. Right? It says, hear the parable of the sower. When anyone hear the word of the kingdom and understand it not, which means you didn't make sure that you're fully rooted and you got the full understanding, guess who's waiting? Satan's like, oh, this person doesn't want to go. All right. Slide in. All right. He's like, this person not studying. This person didn't root. He's not rooted. Okay, cool. All right. So it says, when anyone heareth the word of the kingdom and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one. All right, so he's coming right away. He's like, yo, you ain't been studying? You ain't been plowing? Oh, yeah, I want to bring you back to the world. All right, then cometh the wicked one to catch away what was sown in his heart. This is he which received seed by the wayside. Why is it saying by the wayside? Because the ground wasn't plowed, and now when the seed is being thrown, it's gone to the side. It's gone over here. It's not gone into a nicely plowed area, which we're going to show you what that is, where the seed is properly on the plowed line and it's able to now grow. All right, it's falling to the side. out of the plow line. All right, it's not in the plow. All right, the plow lines, which means it went to the side where that's where you're seeing the grass and all that stuff. It went to the wayside now. It's not in the plowing area. All right, continue for us. Verse 20.
Book of St. Matthew chapter 13, verse 20. But he that received the seed into stony places, the same as he that heareth the word, and with joy receiveth it. Yet hath he not root in himself, but dureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the word, by and by he is offended.
All right. So what is it saying? It says, he that receiveth seed into stony places. What is the stony places? That means in the plowing area, the person didn't take up what? We're supposed to take up the stones and all of that. He didn't take up the stones. So now when the person's throwing now, boom, one of them hit a stone, bop, gone over there now, flop, flop, out of the plowing area. Because once again, there's two different type of plow. There's a plower who will go and he'll place the seed there along the lines like this. And there's the one he's talking about right now. He just takes the seed like this and he's just going like this, boom. He's just throwing a bunch of seeds to see where they gonna go. They all gonna fall different place over there. Some are gonna go to the side, some gonna fall into the thing, but he's not carefully placing them in the plowing line. All right, he just has a bunch in his hand and he's like this. And we're seeing, some fall into the plow, some go over here, some hit a rock. We're now dealing with the one that hit a rock now. All right, so while it's throwing the seed, it's supposed to land in the plow area, it hit a rock, it bounced, it gone. That's the person who what? Praise to the Most High. Blessings, yeah. Hey, hear it every second. They want to tell you they're happy. Yeah, praise to the Most High. Praise to them. Bless to the Most High. Praises to the Most High. And then what? They didn't root themselves, right? They didn't go home. They're not studying. They're not doing these things to make sure that when the wicked one comes to visit you, that you're prepared for him. All right, then what happens? What we know happens when you're plowing. Harrowing's coming in. The harrowing coming in, which is the tribulation, persecution. Because of what? Because you did something? No. Because I did something? No. Because of the word of God. All right? You picked up the word, now these processes going to happen. All right? We speak in the word, now it's going to refine you. It's going to say something that you don't like. By and by, he is offended. Now you offended. Now all praises, all praises, all. That's all gone now. Because the person wasn't really setting the ground for the plowing correctly. They were lying. They weren't being truthful. They didn't go home. They didn't do daily requirements. They didn't truly do none of that stuff. They didn't go home and truly go into wisdom. None of that. So now when a problem arises, there's no scripture there. There's no nothing. There's emotion there. And I'm offended. And now I'm gone. You see? All right, and that's because the person at that time, all the scriptures that's supposed to be there, all the stuff that you was going through to constantly be like, yeah, I'm reminding myself. It's not there. You weren't doing that. You lied to yourself. You didn't plow the field. And this is the result of you not plowing. Not of me not plowing my mind, of you not plowing your mind. All right, verse 22.
Book of St. Matthew chapter 13, verse 22. He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful.
All right, so here we see it now. So he that receives seed among the thorns, so this is the weeds and all of that stuff. This is what we said that the weeds does. All right. The care of the world, the deceit. When you leave weeds there, this stuff now choke that which is fruitful. It takes out the fruit. That's what I said. The weeds kill the fruit that's supposed to be growing there. That's why they say take the weed up. Before I was like, what's wrong with the weeds? What's wrong with? Now I understand the weeds kill the fruit. So yes, some people could look at the weeds like, we can eat that and it's good. But no, when you're trying to grow fruits and stuff now and trying to farm, that's harmful because all you're going to have is this one thought here and it's going to eliminate all other good thoughts around it. Right? It's just the one now. It's like, I don't want a field just full of dandelions. Right? You want to fill with different fruits and but this one thought is taking over your whole mind. That's what it's saying there. All right. So he that receives seed among the thorns, among the weeds, the thorns, he heareth the word. All right. But the care of the world, you still care about the world. You still care about the deceitfulness of riches. Once you care about that, that's eventually going to spread. It's evasive. It's invasive. It's going to take over the fruit of the Spirit. It's going to take over the gospel. All right? You're going to start to become unfruitful. You're like, oh, I forget that, man. I want to go into the world. I want to deal with the world. I want the riches. I want the money. I want the fame. The care of this world. Yo, I care what they're going. It's Saturday night. Oh, I want to do this. It's Saturday. I want to go to this event. I'd rather do this event than come to the Sabbath. All this stuff starts to happen, right? Once you start thinking that way. All right. 23. Give us verse 23.
Book of St. Matthew chapter 13, verse 23. But he that receives seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 60, some 30.
All right, so look at this. He that receives, so this is the good ground now. He that receives seed into good ground. What is good ground? Plowed ground. The ground has been fully plowed. The weeds have been taken out. The stones have been taken out, right? And we have nice plowed land right now. All right, and now he's able to receive the seed into that good ground that he prepared, and he heard the word, and he understands the word. Now, because he hears the word and he understands it, now guess what? It's growing now. And because it's growing, guess what? A fruit tree is growing. If the fruit tree is growing, guess what? We got fruit now. If we got fruit, guess what we got? We got 100-fold, 1,000-fold. This is what it's saying now. This person did it correctly, and now we have the law of nature principle if we have fruit growing now. It's simple law of nature principles. Now the fruit's growing. Now we have a tree outside. You didn't do it properly. Guess what? Weeds outside. No trees outside. No fruits outside. All right. But once again, we can't see it because it's our mind. Therefore, we have to be real with ourselves. All right. But we see that the law of nature principle shows that if you don't do these things, you won't have a tree that will be bearing fruit. Because you didn't prepare the land to receive it properly. You didn't prepare your mind to receive information. You didn't really go and try to understand the information that is presented before you. You didn't take the time and didn't put leisure time around to go into wisdom. Your job, all your other duties is taking over your life. All right, that picture right there, this is the opposite of what that sower was doing. So this is how you would now come with, when you sow like this, you don't have to worry about things falling to the wayside because it's going to go right into the plow line. All right, but when we had the sower, he just had seed and he was throwing the seed. All right, this right here is a man planting the seed gently into the plow lines. So we know these seeds are all going to be, supposed to be growing. And they all went to where they're supposed to go to, in opposite to where the parable was saying this man had the sower, and the sower just threw the seeds, and the seeds are all fall in different places. All right, so we're at Luke 17:7.
It's the book of St. Luke chapter 17, verse 7. But which of you, having a servant plowing or feeding cattle, will say unto him by and by, when is he come from the field? Go and sit down to meat? And will not thy rather say unto him, make ready wherewith I may sup, and gird thyself and serve me, till I have eaten and drunken, and afterward thou shalt eat and drink? Doth he thank that servant he did things that were commanded him? I throw not. So likewise ye, when ye shall have done all these things which are commanded you, say, we are unprofitable servants. We have done that which was our duty to do.
All right, so it says, but which of you having a servant plowing or feeding a cattle will say to him by and by, when he is come to the field, go sit down to eat. All right, so he's saying when you come and, the servant come and he comes to your field, which are you going to say to him? He's here. Go sit down. It's eating time. He's going to be like, it's not that. Rather, you're going to say, make ready wherewith I may sup. All right, gird thyself, serve me. All right, till he has eaten and drunken, and afterward thou shalt eat and drink. So he's saying, serve me. You do what you're doing. I'm getting the stuff ready. You go and do work. After you do the work, then you go eat and drink. All right. Does he thank the servant because he did the things that were commanded him? All right. So he's saying, does he thank the servant afterwards when he does and all of that? He's like, oh, thank you. He's just really doing it, right? But he's not thanking the servant, right? Because the servant did his duty. He's like, so likewise, when you have done all those things which you were commanded, you say, we are unprofitable servants. We have done that which was our duty to do. All right, and that's in likeness of when someone comes to your house and it's a worker, and they're like, yo, I got paid for this. And you're like, oh, you went and got some meals for them. You went and got waters. They're like, yo, they came to do this work. That's extra stuff for them. They're like, all right, that's what you wanted to do, but they're not happy that they did their work. They did what they're supposed to do. They weren't really looking for that. All right. In themselves, they're like, yo, I did what I was supposed to do. You're just thanking them. That's you thanking them and giving them things. But in their disposition is, yo, this is what I do. This is what I'm supposed to do. I didn't do nothing special that I'm going to go do to the next customer house right now. That's basically what they say. So they're not looking at every customer I go to, yo, I did this and that. Yo, where's the extra? But you know where that is? That's in tip jobs, gratuity jobs.
So true too, because a lot of people go on these healing journeys, and men and women, they're like, saying how they've healed and they're healing, but they really don't do any healing, and they get a pat on the back from everybody else on social media. But if you go and look deep within, they're not healed anything. They're just masked everything better, right?
Yeah, once again, a lot of people want pat on the back, which that's good too to tell me, oh, you're healing and this, but once again, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to heal. Like, you know what I'm saying? But once again, the disposition of the worker, knowing that, yo, you did the work you're supposed to do. There's nothing extra pat on the back, this and that you're expecting from the individual. The cable guy, he comes to set up your cable. He's not expecting, yo, I thank you for setting up my cable. He's like, yo, I did the work I'm supposed to do, right? That's how the person's supposed to be. Yo, I'm still unprofitable. Oh, it's still a job. He's not happy. He's like, yo, it's still a job. It's still, still my life, still like this. This is what he's saying. We're supposed to still keep that disposition, because why? When you do all these things, you're going to be like, yo, I did this, I did that. Yo, I was plowing. Yo, I'm owed this now. The Most High owes me this. Yo, the people owe me this.
You already got the reward.
Yeah.
You plowed your mind, and
Yeah.
now it's gone. You got the reward. You don't need to ask for it. Doing it is its own reward.
But when you're looking at it like, yo, I done something great now you're like, yo, people owe me now. Yeah. You guys owe me. Yo, I've been doing this. You owe me now. All right? The people owe me. I've been doing this. The people owe me something. I've been doing this. The people owe me. Pay me $500 an hour. Pay me $500 a prayer.
Self-imposing.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're like, I've been doing this. I'm owed something now. I'm owed. No, we're doing this first for the Most High, right? That's our duty, first of all. And whatever else comes after that is beneficial. Just the same way the worker is like, oh, the person wanted to buy me a sandwich and give me a drink after and do this after, or even give him some money after. That's what I was going into, the gratuity. Gratuity now, that's why we can't see that now, because now with jobs that have gratuity, the person is expecting this after. That's what someone who works in the kingdom is like. Someone who works a gratuity job, and every time they're dealing with someone, they're like, yo, I did something good. Where's the gratuity? That's not how gratuity works. You're supposed to be patient. Yo, I did what I'm supposed to do. I got paid what I'm supposed to get paid. And then, yo, someone gave me a little gratuity after. That's whatever they wanted to give me. But in this world, they're like, no, the expectation is like, no, I did the good. Yo, where's my gratuity? Where's the thing that I'm not deserving of? How does that make sense? Right? You know how that makes sense? Because it came with the Negroes first, the slaves. And then the slaves are going to be like, yo, I deserve more in that position. Right? And now everyone, it spreads now as that job, these job positions are here and stay now. And now they're like, yo, that person's not really getting what they're supposed to be. But once again, have heart for the slave and give them more than they're supposed to have. And it came into a culture of constantly giving gratuity instead of gratuity being gratuity is grace. They switch up the word too. They could just say grace, but then you would know, hey, if something's grace, that means you're not owed this, right? That means I paid you what you're supposed to be paid, and you now looking at me for extra. You're forcing extra from me. Instead of saying, yo, I did what I'm supposed to do. I got paid what I'm supposed to pay. And then you're now looking. You're not even looking. You know, whatever happens after happens. The person gave you gratuity or not. But I did what I was supposed to do, and I got paid what I was supposed to get paid. But you're looking for more now. More than what your duty gave you. All right. So we're going to go to Job 4 and 7.
This book of Job chapter 4, verse 7. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished, being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? Even as I seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. By the blast of God they perish, and by the breath of the nostrils they are consumed.
All right, so he's saying, remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent. Which innocent people perish, just perish in the perish. Unless God is what? He's securing them. He's making them safe, right? Before the flood, he's like, yo, let's take the righteous away so they don't have to go through this. That's the only time they perish. All right, but other than that, for to say innocent people just perishing, all right, and the righteous is just cut off. That's why sometimes where people are outside, they're like, I was an innocent person. It's like, were they really innocent? Were they in the fullness of the Lord? Like, that's when you're like, it's innocent to mean they didn't deserve that, right? The person's like the prophet, they're in their family, they're trying to gather. Now God's like, yo, this person, they like innocent, right? Because they're my righteous, they're my elect, they're my people who's trying to serve me. In contrast to someone who's just doing good outside and saying that they're innocent. All right, so we say, remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent. So God is saying, when have you seen my prophets or any of my people just perish because they were innocent? That didn't happen. Or where were the righteous cut off? He just cut off righteous because they were righteous. He cut them off. That doesn't happen. But he's saying, as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow iniquity, they reap the same. So they get what's coming from the Most High. And it shows, by the blast of God, they perish. By the breath of his nostril, they are consumed. All right, and that's wisdom. So wisdom consumes them. And she says that, right? When your calamity come at you, she will laugh at you. All right, so the Most High is showing that those who plow iniquity, those who sow wickedness, that's who gets cut off. That's who gets the blast from the Most High. That's who gets all these tribulations that are not refining. They're not refining. They're just tribulations as punishment, but not refining tribulations that the righteous and elect get, that refines them. All right, so sowing wickedness reaps wickedness. All right, so if you plow iniquity, you're going to end up planting iniquity. All right, so people are plowing iniquity, and then they're planting wickedness. And then it's saying at the harvest time, what are they going to harvest? They're going to harvest wickedness too. Because if that's what you plowed, if that's what you planted, then that's what you're going to harvest. This is what it's saying. All right. So we're going to go to Luke 8 and 4.
So book of St. Luke, chapter 8, verse 4. And when much people were gathered together and were come to him out of every city, he spake by a parable. A sower went out to sow his seed, and as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and it was trodden down, and the fowls of the air devoured it. And some fell upon a rock, and as soon as it was sprung up, it withered away, because it lacked moisture. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprang up with it, and choked it. And the other fell on good ground, and sprang up, and bare fruit, and 100-fold. And when he had said these things, he cried, He that had ears to hear, let him hear.
All right, so once again, the parable again in a different way that we can see it. All right. The sower went out to sow his seed. He sowed some, so he threw some. Some fell by the wayside. Some fell at the side. All right, and when it fell to the side, the fowls of the air came and they ate it. All right, some fell upon the rock, and as soon as the sprout starts coming up, it withered away because it lacked moisture. And we went into what that moisture was, that winter plowing. The person didn't plow in the winter, right? Therefore, the ground didn't get to hold in the moisture. Therefore, it's going to kill the plant. And that's what we're seeing now, all right? The rock was there. Right, it didn't really, the ground didn't get to hold in the moisture, right? It's lacking moisture, right? And now it killed this plant that's growing up. Some fell among thorns, and we're seeing what the thorns and the weeds is, all right? They choke the thing. It becomes invasive. That thought spreads and chokes out the other thoughts, all right? And kills the fruit that's there, all right? And once again, the good ground, when it's on good ground, it springs up. It bears fruit 100-fold. All right, and he says, once again, he that has ears, let him hear. Why is he saying this? Because this is a crucial parable to understand. It's very crucial. So once again, when sowing seeds, some will fall out of the seed bed unless placed right inside, just like what you see in here. That hand right there, that's not the parable that we're seeing here, because nothing is going to go to the wayside. Nothing's going to fall on a rock. Everything's going on the plow line. All right. So this, once again, the hand would be up and it would be tossing these seeds. in contrast to what we're seeing in this picture where we see the plow line and we see the seeds being placed. That's a good ground. This is good ground where we know things will be planted, where we know things will grow because it's fallen right into the seed bed line and it's going to have its opportunity to grow. All right. So once again, this analogy is what we all have to pay attention to. This is why he's saying he has ears, let him hear, because this is crucial to our understanding, our thought process, and you going forward and producing fruit, or else you will not produce fruit. You will produce weeds, and those weeds will take out the fruit and be evasive. All right, we're at Jeremiah 4:3.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 4, verse 3. For thus saith the Lord to the men of Judah and Jerusalem, break up your fallow ground and sow not among thorns. Circumcise yourselves to the Lord and take away the foreskins of your heart, ye men of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my fury come forth like fire and burn that none can quench it, because of the evil of your doings.
All right, so he's saying this, and we're going to take a look at this. He said, thus saith the Most High to the men of Judah and Jerusalem, break up your fallow ground and sow not among thorns. Circumcise yourselves to the Lord. Take away the foreskin of your heart, ye men of Judah, all right, and lest his anger come, right, because of the evil that they're doing. So we're going to go into what's fallow ground. What's fallow ground?
It's a Strong's definition of the word fallow from Hebrew 52:15. Near, properly plowing, that is concretely, freshly plowed land. Fallow ground, plowing.
All right, tillage. All right, so once again, tillage land or land that's tilled is plowed land. So when he told Adam to plow, he's going to have to till the land. He's going to have to produce plowed land on the earth because the earth does not naturally produce plowed land. All right, we see settled land, not plowed land. All right, and once again, fallow ground is freshly plowed land. So he's telling them to break up your freshly plowed land and sow not among thorns. So we're going to go into that understanding, but first we're going to go into the etymology.
It's the etymology of the word fallow. Fallow, noun, from the 1300s, from Old English, fell, fallow land, from Proto-Germanic, falgo, a source also of Old High German, felga, hauro, German, felg, plowed up fallow land, East Frisian, falg, fallow, falgen, to break up ground, perhaps from a derivation of pi root, pel, to fold, hence to turn, assimilated since Old English to fallow, according to OED, probably because of the color of plowed earth. Originally plowed land, then land plowed but not planted, as an adjective from the 14th century.
All right, so fallow, once again, fallow land, all right, harrow, all right, to break up the ground, to fold, all right, land plowed but not planted, all right, so it was plowed land. So originally it's a plowed land and then they try to turn it into not being plowed land, all right, but I had to go in this to really understand what is he saying here. It's freshly plowed land, all right, it's freshly plowed land. That's what fallow ground is. And why is he saying this? So he's saying that, yo, after you've done all of this and you've plowed and you've set the bed right, all right, you set the seed bed right, for the seed to come down now. But he's saying, yo, before you do that, around you in the other places, there's thorns and stuff around you. So he's saying, yo, forget that plowed land, break that up and go away from, far away from where around here where these thorns are. So he's saying, yeah, your land is plowed, but he don't want you to hang around these other thorns that are close and distant. So he's saying to break up yours and to go separate, go further away, all right, so that you can circumcise yourself privately to God and not around those who are really weeds. That's what he's saying, all right? But we have to understand that first we have your plowed land, and once again, plowed land is a strip, but right around that strip, he's saying, yo, around you, around the vicinity, all right, there's a lot of thorns and weeds. He's saying, yo, forget your freshly plowed land. Break that up. Go somewhere else, plow again, and do it there, because I don't want you to sow or plant among thorns. I don't want you to plant among thorns. All right, and why am I saying all this? Because this is what he said to the sons of Zadok Because they could have plowed among the children of Israel. They were plowing their minds, but he's saying, no, you guys get up, separate yourself from the children of Israel, and go plow in the wilderness. Because I don't want you to plow around the thorns and the weeds. I don't want you to be around them. Why? Because he knows that what? Their thought is invasive. It can start to come into our thoughts. It can start to come into our field. It can start to come into our plowed land. So he's saying, no, break up your good plowed land and go further away because around you there's weeds and stuff. And he doesn't want us to plow around the thorns and stuff. And that's what was said to the sons of Zadok. All right, they had to separate from Israel, who were the thorns and stuff. And they had to go and be like, you know what, they're plowing their mind, but they can't do it around Israel. We got to do it separate from them. And this is what we did as a church too. We had to learn again and learn what we're doing and not be in the Hebrew community and all of that and be, when we had to separate ourselves, all right? And we went even private. Even right now, we're just coming out of that privacy, right? Because we had to learn for ourselves first before we're now telling the world all of this stuff. We have to be confident in what we're going through. And we're all young at these times. All right, so we're going to go now and continue to Hosea 10 and 12.
The book of the prophet Hosea, chapter 10, verse 12. Sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy. Break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek the Lord till he come and rain righteousness upon you. You have plowed wickedness, you have reaped iniquity. Ye have eaten the fruit of lies, because thou didst trust in thy way, in the multitude of thy mighty men.
All right. So once again, he says, sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy, break up your fleshly plowed land. All right. So he's saying, yo, sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy, break up your freshly plowed land, for it is time to seek God till he come and rain righteousness on you, till he come and rain on your field. All right. But he said, you have plowed wickedness, you have reaped iniquity, you have eaten the fruit of lies. All right, so he's telling them once again to separate, all right, separate from the people, separate from them. Yes, you have your plowed mind, all right, but you're to separate from these people. Go to an area separate because once again, the weeds are close in vicinity and they could quickly spread into your plowed area. That's why he's saying to get up as a whole away from the weeds and the thorns, all right, and to plow here and prepare yourself. All right, because you want to ensure that you're not going to be plowing wickedness again. You want to ensure that you're not going to be reaping iniquity again. And you want to ensure that you're not eating the fruit of lies again. So this is why he's saying to separate yourself. All right, break up your fallow ground, go away from these people. And that's what the sons of Zadok did. They were in Israel. They're like, all right, we're going to figure this stuff out. And then God's like, no, get out from them and go even further separate from them. And then when we see Christ and them coming, they're separate, but they're coming around them, but they're separated from them. They're learning separately from around these individuals. All right, we're at Proverbs 21 and 4.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 4. And high look and a proud heart, and the plowing of the wicked is sin.
All right, so it says a high look, those who are high and mighty, those who have a proud heart, I don't need to do it. And the plowing of the wicked, all right, so you're plowing in wickedness. This is all sin. It's all sin. All right, so one could say they're plowing, but they're not plowing righteousness, right? They're plowing sin, wickedness. All right, because they're at home. What are they doing? Are they going into wisdom? If you're not going into wisdom, then what are you plowing? You're plowing the things of the world. You're now filling your mind with things of the world. Iniquity, sin. All right, you're not going into wisdom. Guess what you're eating? Lies. Because who's telling you this stuff? You're learning from school. You're learning from outside. You never sat down and learned from the Lord yet. He's not the one teaching you constantly. He's not the one telling you the stuff in your mind. You're learning from what you're seeing outside, and usually what you're seeing has already been deceived. Everything you touch, see, hear, the angels have touched it, and it's all been corrupted unless you're going to filter it through the word of God. All right, so if one's not going into wisdom and they're at home, they're plowing in wickedness. They're plowing the things of the world. They're going to reap iniquity. They're going to start to eat lies because they're not truly dealing with wisdom. They're not plowing for wisdom and understanding and to plant Christ, which is the seed. All right, so we're at Psalms 127 and 1.
the book of Psalms, chapter 127, verse 1. A song of degrees for Solomon. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep thy city, the watchman waketh in vain.
All right, so once again, the field must have Christ as the seed planted. All right, except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain. Except the Lord be planted in the ground, whatever you plowing or whatever you sowing is in vain because it's not the Lord. It has to have the Lord included in it. This is what we're saying. All right, we're at Deuteronomy 10 and 16.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10, verse 16. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart and be no more stiff-necked.
All right, so it's saying circumcise the foreskin of your heart. Be no more stiff-necked. All right, circumcise. All right, your heart, your mind, that's the land. Circumcision, that's the plow. All right, stiff-necked, that's the hard ground that needs to be broken up. This is why when we go back up to here, all right, where was it? Yes, all right, Jeremiah 4 and 4, right, when we're talking about plowing and fallow ground, it also says circumcise yourselves because that's the spiritual plowing. That's spiritual plowing as well. Circumcision is plowing. That's why it says break up your fallow ground, sow not among your hearts, circumcise yourselves unto the Lord, all right? Plow your mind. Take away those things that are bad. Circumcision is what? Cutting off the excess, cutting off that which is bad. What is plowing? Plowing is taking away the weeds, cutting off the weeds that is bad. All right, preparing yourself for what? The plant, which is what? Christ. Circumcision is what? Revealing what? The head, which is Christ. All right, taking all those things away so that the head can be appear and pop up. It's the same thing as the fallow land, all right, plowing, because eventually you want what? The seed of Christ to pop up. You want it to come through out of the land. All right, so this once again, circumcise the foreskin of your heart, be no more stiff-necked. The heart and the mind equals the land. The circumcision is the actual plowing instrument. All right. Stiff-neck, that's the hard ground. We're going to now go to the Dead Sea Scrolls, the community rules.
All right, it's the Dead Sea Scrolls. All right. And this is the rule for the men of the community who have freely pledged themselves to be converted from all evil and to cling to all his commandments according to his will. They shall practice truth and humility in common, and justice and uprightness, and charity and modesty in all their ways. No man shall walk in the stubbornness of his heart, so that he strays after his heart and eyes and evil inclination. But he shall circumcise in the community the foreskin of evil inclination and of stiffness of neck, that they may lay a foundation of truth for Israel, for the community of the everlasting covenant.
All right, so once again, in the Dead Sea Scrolls, they're saying they shall practice truth and humility in common. So they shall practice these things in common. Truth in common. Someone shouldn't be like, yo, I'm learning the truth and I'm doing this. No, everything we're supposed to be doing together. Humility in common. Justice, uprightness, charity, modesty in all their ways. All of that we should be doing together. No man shall walk in the stubbornness of his heart, so that he strays after his heart and his eyes and evil inclination. Because once again, they're showing that you've reaped iniquity, and that's all in us. We're trying to take that away. You're trying to plow in the community now, because all that's there now is wickedness, sin, all of that. We're trying to get that out. So that's why you say no man should go after that what's in his heart, because your plowing field is not good right now. You're here to now plow in the community properly. That's why it says no man shall walk in the stubbornness of his heart, because your heart is already hardened. Your field is not plowed yet. You're here to plow in the community. No man should walk in the stubbornness of his heart, so that he strays after his heart and eyes and evil inclination. Why is it saying all of that? Because they've been plowing iniquity and sin. What you understand is not proper. So he's saying, yo, you have leaders here. You have people here who is leading you into the correct way into plow your mind. This is where you plow. This is where we're going to tell you that's a weed, that's not a weed, that's a fruit, that's not a fruit. All right, because you're not going to be seeing it like that. That's why it says you don't go astray after your own art, your own eyes, your own evil inclination. But you shall circumcise in where? In the community. So you plow your mind in the community. When someone says, yo, I'm going to plow my mind, I'm learning by myself outside. You're already doing yourself disservice. You have iniquity. All of that stuff is in you. It's already in you. Your field is already tainted. You need someone to help you. You need someone who's going to control those weeds for you, which is saying now that, hey, the leaders of the community, in the community, this is the setting for that to happen. It's not going to happen outside of that. That's why he's saying no man should walk in the stubbornness of his heart, so that he strays after his heart, his eyes, his evil inclination. But God has provided a place for you to plow the mind, which is in the community. Circumcise in the community the foreskin of evil inclination and of stiffness of neck. That what? That we may lay a foundation of truth for Israel. Now we get into the truth. Now we get into Christ. For the community of the everlasting covenant. So this is a community of the everlasting covenant, because we're ensuring that what? We're plowed and we're being ready to receive the seed, which is Christ. And the Essenes did that. The Essenes did that. And that's why they were ready to receive the New Testament. Just going back again, what the Essenes had wasn't pureness from good, the diet and all of that. But it was the good seed bed that was made ready to take in the seed that was Christ, that would be planted, that now it can grow, and the understanding in Christ grew and blossomed. And that understanding usurps the seed ground. No one cares about the ground when you have the fruit. The ground is just there for the fruit tree. That's what we're really paying attention to. So that's what comes when Christ came. People could be like, oh, what happened with the Essene? What happened with all that understanding? It's not that. It's that, yo, the fruit is here now. We're focused, at the beginning, we're focused on the soil and stuff before the fruit pops up. Now the fruit is here. We're not really focused on the soil unless we're going to do that again. But we have the end result, which is the fruit. That's what comes. We're not focused on, yo, it's just the diet. Make sure you're eating this. Make sure you're eating alkaline. Yes, we want to do that because you want to make sure that your mind is right. But that's not the end all be all. We want to make sure that you reach here to the spiritual understanding of Christ. And once you've done that, then you can go into the world. You could dabble in this and dabble in that and dabble in these little things. Because those things, once again, the things of the world was made for us. All right. We're able to enjoy them. We have liberty to enjoy them. Right. But we have to first make sure that we've plowed our mind and we've done our duties for God first and foremost. All right. So this will go into plowing and how it's hard work, which we already know, but just once again, emphasizing this.
All right. Plowing is hard work. Plowing is hard work. It is hard for him who follows the plow through the long furrows. There seems to be no reward for him. It is all painful work that he does, cutting and crushing the soil. He sees no growing seed, no golden harvest. It is all weariness, aches and toil for him, with nothing to cheer his heart, nothing to enrich him. The reaper rejoices as he thrusts his sickle and then threshes out the yellow grain. But the work of the plowman seems to be destruction for the time, yet in the end it proves to be glorious work.
All right, so just going into the understanding in the plow field. When someone's plowing and they're out in that field at the beginning, it doesn't seem like any benefit is there. It's no benefit. There's not, all you've seen is the field. There's no benefit yet. All right. And that's what it's saying when the person's doing the plowing work. They're like, yo, why am I doing this? There's nothing here for me. There's no benefit right now. There's nothing here. There's no reward for me. It's all just painful work I'm dealing with right now. All toil, hard labor, cutting, crushing soil, all of this stuff. He sees no growing seed. You don't see seed yet. You don't see harvest coming yet. It's all painful work. All right. It's all weariness, aches, toils. Oh, I got to do this. I got to get up, ache, toil, all of this stuff. Nothing to cheer for, nothing to enrich yet. This is the law of nature principle. You're not going to see none of that. It's the reaper. The reaper rejoices, right? Because it's all done now. Now he gets his sickle. Now he threshes out the yellow grain. That's the person who reaps, who comes and sees the field after it's all done. But the person who's doing the plowing at the beginning, there's a certain feeling he's going to have. The work of the plowman seems just to be destruction for the time. Seems just to be like I'm doing something just to do it, and there's no benefit coming from it. But it's saying he endured to the end. At the end of his work, at the end of the season, in the reaping time, that's when it shows that, yo, what you did, it was of benefit. In the end, you do benefit. In the end, you do get a fruit. And I believe truly that Israel, because we're not, and maybe people in the country, they understand it more, but us in the city, we need to actually go and plant a fruit tree and have one to actually understand what this all feels like, to be like, yo, it turned from this, and then now I'm seeing, yo, rows of fruit coming, and now we're able to pick it, and now we're able to actually feel that law of nature principle. All right, but we've been cut off from the nature so much that you hear about it, you see it, but I never experienced it myself. All right, the garden is one of the things I've been, that's what I want to get into, really and truly, to make the time for that. All right, and to have a farm to really see, yo, this is the plowing, this is now your fruits now. This is all from your labor. Look at all the trees out here now. All right, it's different when you go from seeing the field like that, and it's just being a field that's settled, and then it being a plowed field, and then you planting, and then you seeing all these crops and stuff that you didn't plant it. All right, but it's showing you that when the plowman's doing this, he can seem like, yo, what am I doing this for? There's nothing here. It's just cold right now. I'm plowing in this cold season. It's cold. I'm agging. I'm cutting this. I'm doing that. I'm just doing work, and I didn't get no benefit yet. And that's what everyone's going to feel like when they're doing this. Oh, I'm going into wisdom. Why do I got to go into wisdom? Because we're taught from the world that, oh, you're going to get paid next week. Right? You did this week, you're going to get paid next week. With the Most High, it's not like that. You're waiting on an unexpected pay. You don't know when it's coming. But you just know that you're doing it, and it's eventually going to come. And that's the same thing as the plowman. He don't know when the fruits are going to come. Like, they have the time and stuff now, but you still don't know based on the season. You still got to look. All right, but continue for us.
It is hard also for the soil to have the plow of God driven through our hearts and over our lives, breaking them and crushing them. Oh, how heavy God's plow is, as it is dragged over us, its sharp plow share cutting into the very center of our being. Rough is the plow work. It has no comfort in it. No reward is apparent. The plow cuts remorselessly, but the plowman may have visions of a rich outcome from all his toil. There will be a harvest by and by, when in the place where his share now cuts, golden grain will wave, and he will fill his bosom with sheaves. You cry out today because of the pain you suffer as God's plow cuts into your life and seems to be spoiling all its beauty. But look forward, first the plow, then the fields with their glorious grain. Now you know nothing but pain. Hereafter you will reap joy from the places now scarred and furrowed.
All right, so that's what it's showing you. All right, it is hard for the soil to have the plow of God driven through our hearts, through your lives, breaking them, crushing them. The plow of God coming through your life. It's, what's happening? What's going on? I don't see no benefit. I don't see no this. All right, just showing you how heavy God's plow is. It's dragged all over you. It's sharp. It's plowshare cutting into every center of your being. The harrowing that we had spoken about, all right, which that came back from Solomon. Solomon said, he that increased wisdom increaseth sorrow. Rough is the plow work. Plowing is rough. No comfort. Don't think, I'm going to go home and plow and it's going to be all pretty. No, it's rough work. No comfort in it. No reward is apparent. I could be doing this. What am I doing this for? Am I getting money right now? I don't know if I'm getting money. Yeah, there is going to be money at the end. Yeah, I think when I was doing stuff, there's going to be money. No, but eventually the Most High shows you, oh, boom, some understanding here. This is this now. All right, but it doesn't come from the learning part. All right, it's at the end. It's at the harvest part. All right, the plow cuts remorselessly. All right, the plowman may have visions of a rich outcome from all this toil. So it's us that have to be like, yo, I'm plowing right now, but I see the harvest. I see it in the end. I see what I'm doing. I see the field that's about to come in the end. Because right now, all you're going to see is the cold. All you're going to see is the work. All you're going to see is the sweat. All you're going to see is the toil. You ain't going to see no fruit, no nothing to eat right now. All right, but he's saying there will be a harvest. in the place where his share now cuts. So where you're now cutting, there will be a harvest. Where you're now getting in understanding, you will harvest sometime. You will get into some understanding that's going to get you and enrich you. Because wisdom says that. Wisdom is more important than all of that, it says. During rubies and anything like that. It says you cry out today because of the pain you suffer as God's plow cuts into your life. A lot of people crying out as they go into the plowing session. I don't see the benefit. I don't see this. I don't see that. All right. And not seeing the glorious grain in the field that's coming soon. All right. But right now it's saying you know nothing but pain. But hereafter you'll reap joy from the places that are now scarred and furrowed. Now scarred and furrowed because you did the harrowing, all that. They're scarred and stuff, but they'll heal and they'll begin to blossom and grow. All right, the same thing we show with the derma, where people say, do that, hey, all that scarring and all of that is beneficial because it will allow to grow after. All right, pain now, but growing later. Same thing with the working out. Stressing out your muscles and your joints now, scarring them now, but they'll be joyous later when you see the gains. Oh, now I see the gains. Oh, look at me. Oh, you see? But to get to them gains, you had to what? Pain. Here we go. We have to go through the pain. All right? Then they see the gains, and everyone's looking, when did I get the gains? When did the gains come? When did the gains? Did I get it yet? They keep looking in the mirror. When did they? Because everyone wants the fruit. Yeah, everyone wants the fruit. Everyone's ready for the fruit. So the person work out one day, they're already looking in the mirror. They're already like, yo, you see a difference? The fruit coming yet? Right? Because everyone wants the fruit. No one wants to work and not see the toil to work from it. So the working out, we're seeing that, yo, they working out. They want to go see it right away. Soon as someone's in the working out, yo, you see the camera on the ground, everything. They want to show everybody, yo, look. Yeah, gains. All right.
Well, the pump goes away, right? You do get a pump, but it goes away, and then a week or so, you get the actual pump that you had, grows. You can see the muscles grow.
Yeah, everyone wants to look, but yeah, once again, when people are starting,
The pump is temporary.
yeah, when you just did it, when you just freshly did it, yeah. After you leave, it's gonna go down.
After it's rested and the muscles healed, then you get growth. Then you can say, oh, I got bigger. And it stays with you.
All right. So we're gonna go to Mark 4:26.
It's the book of St. Mark, chapter 4, verse 26. And he said, so is the kingdom of God, as if a man should cast seed into the ground.
All right, so just once again, the kingdom of God is as if a man was to cast seed into the ground. The same thing that I'm saying, take the seed in your hand and you throw it like that. Not though putting it down into the seed bed like we see carefully. All right, we're talking about, he cast it. He threw it like that. When you're saying you cast the net, you're saying you threw the net like that. All right, so when we're seeing cast, he threw it. He cast the seed into the ground. He's throwing them. All right, continue for us.
Verse 27. And should sleep and rise night and day, and the seed should spring up and grow. He knoweth not how. For the earth bringeth forth fruit of herself, first the blade, then the ear. After that, the full corn in the ear. But when the fruit is brought forth, immediately he putteth in the sickle, because the harvest is come.
All right, we'll break that down. So he says the kingdom of God. All right, so he said, so is the kingdom of God. It's like a man who should cast seed into the ground and should sleep and rise night and day. All right, he's saying he's sleeping night and day because he don't know what day the seed gonna spring up and grow. He knoweth not how. He just know he put it there. Yeah, I put it there, but he don't know day 1 is gonna do this, day 2 is gonna do that, day 3 is gonna look like this. He has no idea. You're just observing every day. You don't know when it's gonna break the atmosphere and you're gonna see that little leaf pop up out the soil. You don't know when that's gonna happen. That's what he's saying. The kingdom of God is the same way. He should sleep, rise night and day. The seed should spring up and grow. He don't know how it's happening. He just know there's a stuff for it to happen, but he don't know how it's happening. It says, for the earth bringeth forth fruit of herself. It does it itself. You don't need to do all of that stuff. Once you put it in there, it's doing all the stuff. First the blade, then the ear, and after the full corn of the ear. So it's showing you, bring it to the stages. You didn't have nothing to do with the stages. The earth did all itself the same. It says, but when the fruit is brought, immediately, all right, the person put the sickle. And the sickle, that's what we see right there. The sickle is that blade. So he says, soon as it grows up, though, so you don't know how it's happening, but soon as the stuff pop up and it's ready now, the person with the harvest comes right away, cut it off, and they're ready to get that what was ready. And that's what he's saying. The kingdom, soon as the kingdom is ready, and it's now a fruit, they're ready to be eaten, as fast as you're going to see Christ come and everything's cut off now, because that's how it is in growing. Everyone waits. Soon as the fruit is there, imagine someone waiting how long, and now they see finally a fruit that you can eat. You're going to see that's getting off the tree as quick as possible. And then they have to wait again, because now you're like, yo, I took all these fruits, and now there's none that's ready right now to eat. Because you're waiting immediately for, soon as you see the harvest ready, the same day you're going to be like, yo, I've been waiting for it. The same thing they're saying Christ has been waiting. Soon as he sees that it's ready, he going to come with the sickle, he going to cut it off, and he going to have fruit to eat. We here in the kingdom. The kingdom's ready. It's growing up. It's ready. The fruit is ready to eat. That's what he's saying here, because the harvest has come. It's harvest season. It's time to harvest it. It's time to pick it. All right, so we're at sickle definition.
This is the definition of sickle. It's a Greek 14:07. Dreponon, drepo, to pluck. A gathering hook, especially for harvesting. Sickle. It's a third definition. A sickle, a pruning hook. A hook vine knife, such as reapers and vintagers use.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. A related word by Thayer from Drepo. Okay, yeah. And then it says
To pluck. All right. But yeah, to pluck. All right. So the sickle to pluck, which is a gathering hook. And once again, it's used for harvesting. That's what they use to cut off whatever that they're harvesting. All right. Whether it be the weeds, right? The wheat. They just take it like that, cut it like that, or a plant and just take it like that. But it's what they use to cut the leaf off, all right, to harvest. All right. It's a harvest instrument. All right. So once again, the kingdom of God saying that soon, you don't know how anything is done. The earth just does it. But soon as the stuff is prepared, the person for the harvest comes right away with the sickle, and he cuts the fruit right away, because now it's ready to eat. So the person who's harvested, soon as the stuff is ready to harvest, they come immediately and take it out of the field. That's what it's saying. And soon as the kingdom is ready, he's saying not a second later, God will appear and he will be ready for the harvest, because that's the law of nature principle. All right, so we're just going to go into the final. What's a sickle?
All right. What is a sickle? This is out of the Britannica Encyclopedia. Sickle, one of the most ancient of harvesting tools, consisting of a metal blade, usually curved, attached to a short wooden handle. The short handle forces the user to harvest in a stooped or squatting position. The longer handled scythe, the user of which remains upright, evolved from the sickle. Harvesting with a sickle is very slow, but because of its simplicity and low cost, it is still widely used over the world, especially to reap cereals such as wheat and rice, and also a gardening tool.
All right, so this once again, it's a harvesting tool, a sickle made with a metal blade, usually curved, right? And that's what they just use to cut the stuff. And doing it that way can take a long time, right? Now they have like different instruments and, you know, things that they put in the field that will take all the fruit off, and, you know, especially cherry field, different stuff. But the old way is you're going to have to go and you're going to have to go from cut to cut, all right, as a gardening tool. All right, so once again, going to the lesson of keep your hand on the plow, no turning back. All right, we've reached the end. We're at Philippians 4:8.
It's the book of Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true.
All right, so was it true? If you sow wickedness, you're going to reap wickedness. All right, if we sow righteousness, we will reap righteousness. It's true that we all have a duty in our own self to plow our minds. Why? Because the second you don't understand something is the second there comes the devil to make you what? Take you out of that understanding. All right. If you don't plow your mind, boom. Soon as something happens and tribulation happens, boom. No more joy. Oh, I'm leaving now. I'm doing this now. All right. These things are true. We have to be true to ourselves. We have to plow our minds individually. We have to set aside time to go into wisdom that's outside of the world. Go into the scriptures. We have to have time to settle topics and settle understandings in ourselves, and not make school the last time you studied a full topic in fullness and came to a conclusion and did an essay at the end and said, this is the full thought on the topic. Shouldn't be, yo, that was when I went to school. We have to be true to ourselves. Continue for us.
Whatsoever things are honest.
All right, it's honest. What's honest? We have to be honest that when we're plowing, it's going to look like what? It's going to look like there's no reward in front of you. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard work to plow. This is honest with ourselves. You're going to feel like, what am I doing this for? What's this reward for? That's why we have to remember we're doing all things for Christ, not for men pleaser, not for their eyes. We're doing it for Christ. The reward is Christ. Everything I'm doing is for Christ. All right, continue for us.
Whatsoever things are just.
All right, what's just? It's just when what? When the Most High cuts somebody off. Because if you reap iniquity, you'll sow iniquity, and you'll harvest sin. All right, you'll harvest his punishment. That's what's going to come at the end. He's going to punish you at the end. All right? Or if you what? If you prepare the seed bed, prepare your mind, prepare your thoughts, right? You'll be ready for the planting, the sowing of Christ, the seed, and it will be ready to blossom and create fruit. Continue for us.
Whatsoever things are pure.
All right, what's pure? We need a pure field, a field that's freshly plowed, taking the weeds out, doing winter plowing, all right, to create a pure atmosphere. The atmosphere has to be so pure that God said, yo, break up your fallow ground. Your ground is plowed, but you around thorns. Separate from the thorns. Go amongst with each other to this separate area and do this. Not around these people who don't care, but around people who care. That's what he told the sons of Zadok. All right, continue for us.
Whatsoever things are lovely.
All right, what's lovely? It's lovely when what? You see a harvest coming and the fruits is there by the hundreds and thousandfold. But that's after what? The plowing, after the hard work is done. Now we see the harvest, which took a long time to come, which took faith to come, which took endurance and patience. All right, continue for us.
Whatsoever things are of good report.
All right, and these are good report when you get the harvest back. The harvest is here. Now the person, the reaper, could come with the sickle. Continue for us.
If there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Those things that ye have both learned and received and heard and seen in me, do, and the God of peace shall be with you.
All right, so with that being said, we want to say all praises be unto the Most High Almighty, Ahaya Yeshaya Christ, our Lord, our God, our Savior. This is the Essene Community Church of Christ. My name is Archbishop Shamar.
And I'm Bishop Mike Allah.
And that was our Sabbath report / lesson. Once again, keep your hand on the plow. Keep your hand on the plow. Keep your hand on the plow. No turning back. And are you fit for the kingdom? With that being said, we want to say peace and blessings. Happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath. Enjoy the Sabbath, the rest of the Sabbath day, and enjoy the Lord's Day tomorrow as we acknowledge both days, knowing that the Sabbath is a representation of the 1,000-year rest, and the 8th day is a representation of the new heaven and the new earth, and where death is eliminated. With that being said, peace and blessings, peace and blessings, peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings, peace and blessings.
Only the children of light is gonna understand this.
For there are 3 philosophical sects among the Jews, the followers of the first of which are the Pharisees, of the second, the Sadducees, and the third sect, and the third sect, and the third sect, which pretends to a severer discipline, are called deceived. These last are Jews by birth, and Jews by birth.
This is